Sir, I want to thank the honourable member. This question relates to LNG and CNG, but the question that he is asked in the supplementary relates to the price of diesel. Let me just inform the House through you, sir, that there were two broad processes. State public transport providers, to which the honourable member has mentioned, and some other state enterprises were being supplied diesel at wholesale rates. By wholesale rates, I mean rates which did not factor in dealer commission, etc., because they were going to those users directly. What happened, sir, in the aftermath of the pandemic and the military action which has taken place, is taking place in one part of the world, that global prices went haywire. And in the process, I should use to say, they wide fluctuation. As a result, the supplies to wholesalers somehow became more expensive than the supplies at the retail point. So what happens is a lot of people who were getting discounted diesel started coming and queuing up in retail outlets. I am told that this is a market mechanism functioning issue which should resolve itself very soon as there is stability in the and one knows which way the prices are going. But the idea is not for anyone to charge the wholesalers more than at the retail.
Thank you. Second supplementary.
Second supplementary, I make it short, sir. My direct question, does the government have any plans to propose STUs to convert any stipulated percentage of their existing fleet? Is there any additional subsidy proposed to state transport undertakings for purchase of new LNG, CNG vehicles?
Thank you.
Sir, liquefied natural gas, to which the honourable member is referring, is typically a natural gas cooled to a liquid state at about minus 260 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 162 degrees Celsius. Sir, LNG is entirely outside the purview of any governmental control. LNG is imported by the private sector directly for use in industry. The government have encouraged the establishment of what are called LNG dispensing stations. An LNG dispensing station is one, sir, and there are 4 of these, including one in Kochi in Kerala, where liquefied natural gas will go straight into heavy-duty public transport providers. Now, the station, out of the 4 LNG stations which are dispensing stations, which are available in the country, sir, 2 of them are in a position to start dispensing LNG. We had received a letter from the government of Kerala, which I have a copy, sometime, sir, I think in the month of August of 2021, where they told us that they were proposing to convert 400 state transport buses into use for LNG. We have encouraged that, sir. We have in fact said that this is a classic case of the chicken and the egg. The arrangements for the supply of the LNG are there, and once the vehicles which can use them are available, I'm sure they will start taking the LNG from the dispensing station. What happens, sir, is that LNG
Be brief,
is normally transported in cryogenic cylinders, and we are quite happy. Another station in Gujarat actually is dispensing about 70 kilos in a day, sir.
Thank you. Manya Fauziya Khan ji.
Thank you, Vice Chairman, sir.
1 minute. Mic is not working.
Mic. Srimati Fauziya Khan ji ki mic. Other mic, please. Please, mic. Mic system is not on. Yeah, it's on now.
Thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir. Sir, according to a recent study which was made by Council on Energy, Environment and Water, CEEW, 70% of Indian households use liquid petroleum gas and their primary cooking, which is as their primary cooking fuel. But 85% have got connections. So there's a gap of 15%. Why is this 15% not using? And sir, the consumer subsidy, which was stopped during the COVID-19 pandemic, after the 50 rupees rise in the price, will you reconsider starting of the subsidy?
Thank you. I want to thank the honourable member. The reference is to the extent to which our population and geographical area are being covered by CGD. Sir, I want to inform the honourable member that we started this process many years ago, and the 11th round of bidding is currently going on. And after the 11th and the 11A round are complete, we would have over 82% of our land area and 98% of our population complete, so that piped cooking gas can be delivered to household. But after the award of during the bidding, it typically takes a certain number of years. The only population which will be left outside would be those areas in the northeast and some in Jammu and Kashmir where the physical ability to reach households is a little difficult because they are widely dispersed. And typically cooking gas which comes through the pipe is cheaper and more easily, is more consumer friendly than that which is distributed through cylinders. During the pandemic, the honourable member asked why the subsidy was stopped. During the pandemic, I would like to inform the honourable member that through the Ujjwala scheme, those who had received the Ujjwala benefits earlier, they were given free cylinders during the pandemic. And today we have a situation where the total number of gas connections, which stood at, I think, 14 crores in 2014, today has gone up to 30 crores. But this is an ongoing process where through the CGD, we will be trying to cover the entire population. So this is work in progress.
Thank you. Manya V. Vijay Sai Reddy ji.
Sir, is it true that the center to set up 1,000 LNG stations across the country, which will attract of 10,000 crores? If so, how does the center propose to identify the locations of these LNG stations? Has the government formulated any policy and time-bound roadmap for setting up these LNG stations? Thank you.
Honourable Minister.
Sir, I want to thank the honourable member. We have a roadmap, but this is a roadmap which contains only proposals, and the idea is to set up 1,000 of these along the major highways, etc. Because typically liquefied natural gas, by virtue of direct dispensing from the dispensing station, can go into heavy vehicles, heavy-duty vehicles, which will ply on those. And a certain procedure also for setting up is under consideration. I would be happy to share with the honourable member specifics on what we have. I mean, we have also disseminated some of this in the press, that we are setting up the first 50 LNG fueling stations for the next 1,000 or so, overall 1,000 in the next few years. So I'd be happy to share with him what it would take, because it will require investment, both in terms of establishment of these centers and making them functional.
धन्यवाद. Question number 257, माननीय राजमणि पटेल जी.
Sir, a
माननीय मंत्री.
statement is laid on the table of the House.
First supplementary.
माननीय सभापति जी, प्रश्न के उत्तर में जानकारी दी कि प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना शहरी के आवासों सहित विभिन्न आवासीय क्षेत्रों में शहरी परिवहन बुनियादी ढांचे को शुरू करने और विकसित करने के लिए राज्य सरकारें जिम्मेदार हैं। मैं माननीय मंत्री महोदय से जानना चाहता हूं कि किन किन राज्य सरकारों द्वारा बुनियादी ढांचा शुरू करने और विकसित करने के लिए क्या क्या उपाय किए गए हैं, इसकी जानकारी।
धन्यवाद।
Sir, I want to thank the honorable member. Sir, both urban transport and housing are state subjects. Today, under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban, the government, central government has sanctioned under 4 separate verticals a total of 1 crore 15 lakh houses, out of which I think about 70 lakh houses have been grounded and close to 45 or 46 lakhs have been handed over to beneficiaries. So typically this works in the following way. It is the state government which collects as per its demand assessment requests from its citizens under the 4 verticals, and then it consolidates these and sends them to the central government, which in turn has a committee for sanctioning and monitoring of these projects. This committee at the center is chaired by the Secretary in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. The states are expected, before they forward these proposals, all states and union territories, to first satisfy themselves that when they make the proposal, the social infrastructure, by that I mean connectivity from where the housing is, parking, water, sewage are all available. It is based on that vetting that the proposal is to come, but the committee headed by the Secretary in the Housing Ministry also subsequently asked them, please let us know whether you have these in place. Now, in most of the cases, the projects for affordable housing or BLC or in situ slum rehabilitation follow that. But we have noticed that in some cases there is a lag because the vetting and the arrangements were not made by the state government, which is essentially responsible both for urban transport and housing. Sir.
Thank you. Second supplementary.
सभापति महोदय, प्रश्न के भाग खा में मैं जानकारी चाहता हूं माननीय मंत्री महोदय से कि AWS LIG के लिए ऋण सब्सिडी योजना 25/6/15 से लेकर के 31/3/22 तक लागू की गई है, लेकिन मध्यम आय समूह के लिए 1/1/2017 से 31/3/2021 तक लागू है। क्या इसे भी 2022 तक बढ़ाए जाने का प्रस्ताव है? विचार करेंगे सर?
माननीय मंत्री जी।
Sir, the scheme for the EWS was operational for up to last year, and the scheme for the LIG is being implemented since June 2015 to March 2022, which means the scheme has a remaining few days. Sir, what has happened is that the original demand assessment for the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana was at about 1 crore. Subsequently, the states and union territories revised their demand assessment and it came up to 1 crore 12 lakhs. Now it is at 1 crore 15 lakhs. Now the schemes therefore have more or less matured and completed their process. And any project which has been sanctioned so far, naturally the government will ensure that those projects are completed by then. But at this point of time, sir, it is not our intent, it is not under consideration to review this continuation of the credit-linked subsidy scheme for the MIG beyond 31st March 2021.
Thank you. माननीय डेरिक ओब्रायन जी।
Sir, I draw the minister's attention to a speech made by the Honorable Prime Minister in July 2018, where he said, and I quote, "By 2022, my government will ensure everyone has a house," unquote. This was made in Lucknow, 2018, July. That was a promise made to deliver a house to every Indian by 2022. I'm not going about doubling farmers' income in 2022 or bullet train by 2022 or electricity for all. So my specific question to the minister, is it happening in 2022? If it's not happening, can you tell us when will every Indian have a house? Just give us the year.
Thank you.
Because this is the Prime Minister on record. Thank you, sir.
Sir, I'm particularly grateful to my distinguished colleague for asking this question. It was precisely in pursuance of the Prime Minister who said that he has a dream that by March 2022, every Indian, no matter where he or she lives, has a pakka roof over his or her head, and that Awas will have a shauchalaya, a kitchen, gas cylinder, etc. That scheme, sir, had one additional very important feature, that the title of the home or the Awas would be in the name of the lady of the house, either singly or co-jointly, because it was our experience that whenever there is, let us say, some domestic disagreement, etc., it's the lady of the house who gets shortchanged in terms of property. So at least directly in the name of the lady of the house or co-jointly. Sir, in pursuance of this, all the states were asked in June 2015 to give us a demand assessment. And that demand assessment said 1 crore homes will have to be built. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana was conceived in June 2015. It has succeeded well beyond the 1 crore to 1 crore 12 lakhs, 1 crore 15 lakhs, and in the remaining 3 days of this fiscal year, in fact, I think the number might go up also a little. With that, the entire objective of the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana urban would be completed. Now there is affordable housing taking place in the private sector, and if the states were to say that they have still some more demand, what we are noticing is some states sent us demands, later on they changed that, reduced some number, added a few more. Total, I think, will be in the vicinity of 1 crore 15 lakhs, and I want to assure the honourable member, with this, the dream of the honourable Prime Minister enshrined in the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana urban will stand fulfilled.
Thank you. Dr. Narendra Jadhav ji. Doctor, please, he has given response.
Doctor, I'm very happy to answer that. I'm very happy to answer that.
Please.
The proposal started, sir, the scheme was devised in June 2015, started haltingly, and then in spite of the pandemic, which lasted a full 2 years, the scheme will be completed, as I said, all sanctions done by March 2022. Typically, sir, the time after grounding of an Awas is between around 18 months. Somewhere we are using modern technology, it's little less than 18 months, some it's 24 months. So the scheme will be completed within a very short foreseeable future of time. I would be happy to share with the honourable member the individual completion timelines of all the projects under the scheme.
Thank you. Dr. Narendra Jadhav ji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir. The written reply given by the Honourable Minister indicates that the priority sector lending for affordable housing projects has been raised from 28 lakh rupees to 35 lakh rupees in metropolitan centers. In this much amount of lending in metropolis like Mumbai, even a juggi jhopdi is not possible. My supplementary question, sir, is why is this one-size-fits-all kind of approach? Why can't we make a distinction between metropolis like Mumbai and other metropolis which has a population close to 10 lakhs?
Thank you.
Typically in any project of this kind, and there are 4 separate verticals, and I'm quite happy to share with the honourable member. Let's take the first vertical, which is affordable housing and partnership. It's not the amount. What is important is the state government is required to provide the land, and after the state government provides the land for a project, then the central government and the state government, central government typically 1.5 lakhs, state governments vary. I know some state governments are providing more. So at the end of the day, the value of the unit which is constructed is more, because the value of the land is being provided by the state. Equally, in situ-led slum rehabilitation, these are informal settlements which came up in the center of cities. What we are doing is through a process of cross-subsidization and public-private partnership, we are getting investments in from the private sector, so those who are in possession there, instead of being settled 100 kilometers away, they will be provided housing in there, and equally some new commercial space, etc. will come up. That is the principle on which the GPRA colonies have also come up. Affordable housing is being encouraged all over. That's why limits have been provided for loans under priority sector lending. But in addition to that, sir, we've taken a large number of other steps. For instance, according infrastructure status to affordable housing, ensuring low cost, reduction in GST from 8% to 1% without input tax credit, increase, this is a priority sector lending which the honourable member setting up an affordable housing fund in the National Housing Bank, regulations of floor space, which again in some states like Maharashtra, to which the honourable member is referring, has been more liberal, and from our side we are encouraging all state governments to be more liberal and rational, to rationalize FAR so that more spaces, cities can either spread horizontally and have other disadvantages, or they can go up vertically. So we encourage that, sir.
Thank you. Honorable KRN Rajesh Kumar ji.
The Honorable Deputy Chairman, sir. While the considering of pandemic situation period, the government considered to extend the credit-linked subsidy scheme under PMAY to next 2 years, because the middle class people is directly benefit this scheme. So I kindly request to the government, in circumstance of pandemic period, to please extend the scheme next 2 years.
Good, thank you. It's suggestion. You should have put your question, please.
Sir, all I can say is all these schemes are devised taking into account the demand assessment which comes from the ground. The demand assessment we think has been met. This is a suggestion which the honourable member has made on the floor. The suggestion has been noted.
दिल्ली के भवाना इलाके में राजीव रतन आवास योजना के अंतर्गत करीब 300-400 फ्लैट बगैर बुनियादी सुविधाओं के बना दिए गए थे, जहां पर घटिया निर्माण सामग्री होने के कारण 11 फरवरी 2022 को मकान भरभरा के गिर गए, जिसमें रुकैया खातून, शहजाद, अफरीन 12 वर्ष उम्र, दानिश, ये लोग इनकी दबके मृत्यु हो गई और 2 लोग घायल हुए मानो। तो माननीय मंत्री से पूछना चाहता हूं कि माननीय मंत्री जी, जिस तरह से आजकल बिल्डिंगों को, सरकारी बिल्डिंगों का निर्माण हो रहा है कि 10 साल में ही गिर रही हैं, तो क्या ऐसे इंजीनियरों को, कार्यदायी संस्थाओं को दोषी मानते हुए मृतक पीड़ितों के परिवार को इसमें मुआवजा देंगे? जो
धन्यवाद, धन्यवाद.
I want to thank the honourable member for raising this question. Sir, the Rajiv Ratan Awas Yojana or RRAY was a scheme which was implemented by the then government of the National Capital Territory of Delhi between the years 2007 and 2010. It's a state government scheme. It was not an independent scheme, sir. It was part of the JNURM or the Jawaharlal Nehru Urban Rehabilitation Mission. Sir, these homes were built between 2007 and 10, and since then they have not been allotted. That would require a separate discussion. From the side of the central government, we have on many occasions requested the state government that these apartments or flats constructed in between 2007 and 10 under the Rajiv Ratan Awas Yojana should be made available to the central government for a new scheme that we have about affordable rental housing complexes. Sir, we asked the state government under whose jurisdiction this comes, the Delhi government, as to what precisely happened in this scheme. The honorable member is absolutely correct that one building, block 30 of the 32 houses in Gogna, which was part of an economically weaker section housing complex, collapsed in 11 February 2022. The answer we have received from the Delhi government in writing is that during the course of the pandemic, there was large-scale theft and pilferage, including of the steel used as part of the reinforcement and girders. In other words, this was a case of theft by miscreants, which resulted in the basic structure of those apartments. So you will appreciate when apartments are built floor upwards, the floors, people removed the concrete and stole the steel girders, etc. And that this unfortunate incident which took place, we have been told that this was some people who were there at that point of time. They have suffered on account of this. A few have lost their lives also in this most regrettable thing. But as I said, we have requested the state government that for the remaining houses out of the 35,000 built, these should be made available. Sir, the state government tells us that third-party quality audit was undertaken during the construction of this, because the honorable member has said कि जो दोषी हैं उनके खिलाफ क्या कार्यवाही की गई. Sir, ये state government का project था, and they have said that they had a third-party quality assurance, and that I will give you the exact answer. DSIIDC, that is the Delhi State Industrial Development Corporation, has stated that the inquiry has been completed by the engineer-in-chief, as per which this incident happened due to extensive damage to the structure by thieves, miscreants, by stealing steel reinforcement from the RCC monolithic structure of the blocks during the COVID lockdown period.
Thank you. Second supplementary.
माननीय मंत्री जी से मैंने पूछा था कि मृतकों के पीड़ित परिवारों को मुआवजा, माननीय मंत्री जी कह रहे हैं कि वहाँ चोरी हो गई, वहाँ की सरिया गटर केंद्र सरकार की पुलिस है इनकी. तो मैं माननीय मंत्री जी से पूछना चाहता हूँ कि उसमें कितने लोग चोरी करने वाले पकड़े गए, और क्या जर्जर फ्लैटों को बनाने के लिए कोई योजना है, आप उनको दुरुस्त करने के लिए कोई योजना बनाएंगे?
धन्यवाद निशा जी, धन्यवाद.
Honorable member is raising a very relevant question, and I think that question is very specific. Why were the peoples there? These were damaged flats or flats where the steel reinforcements went. And if some of them were there for whatever reason, in question of compensation, we'd be very happy to ask the state government, because these are flats constructed under the Rajiv Ratan Awas Yojana by the state government. We'd be very happy to ask them. And I will go a step further. If we can also on our side to see whether we can rehabilitate them elsewhere, we would be very happy to consider that also under one of the central government schemes. But this is primarily the responsibility of the Delhi state government.
Thank you. Manya Veer Ranjan Viswasi.
Sir, thank you. Through you, I would like to know from the Honourable Minister, what has the central government done in view of this unfortunate incident to ensure that such deplorable acts of negligence, be it on part of the state government or on part of the central government, relating to houses built for the marginalized and the poor of this country under such scheme or schemes, is not repeated in the future?
Thank you,
sir.
First and foremost, every state government or union territory, as in this case, which undertakes construction, they claim that they had a third-party quality assurance which looked into this. But why should any space constructed as long ago as 2007 remain unallocated till 2022? That is the first question. Any building, even if it is constructed to the highest quality, and if it is allowed to remain vacant, you will have pilferage of the fittings. This is a standard practice, because in a country where you have people, migrant or other populations, so the first issue arises, and even now, of the remaining 35,000, We have been repeatedly writing to them to say that please make this available for affordable housing rental complexes so that we can provide temporary shelter to those who they may have a permanent abode in their place under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, but if they come looking for work in a capital or any other big city, we can provide these after doing them up. The second issue, sir, is that it is not what the central government, we have clear guidelines which are given in all codified for the whole country, but at the end of the day, the central government can only make a set of rules. And I come now to the most important point. Sir, theft is a criminal act. You can go into any building with a hammer, sledgehammer, start removing the concrete and the fittings, etc. Now, that is something for which the concerned authorities have to assume responsibility. As far as we are concerned, we are willing to help at least.